Hi, ladies and gentlemen, you're welcome back to my channel. Today, without wasting much of your time, I'm going to be talking about how you can set up a fish farm in Nigeria, especially catfish farm. If you want to start catfish farm, I'll be asking you some questions in this video, and that question I'm going to be answering them myself. But I want you to make this video as a guide on how you can kickstart your own catfish farm in Nigeria. Shall we begin? The consider is location. And I believe I've already made a video on this same topic that can guide you, but I'm still going to talk about it in this video. Location. You need to site a place where you're going to erect your fish farm facility. Of course, you need to consider how secure the place is. If the place is not secure, then why do you want to waste your money? You need to consider that. At the same time, you also need to, part of this location as well, you need to determine so many things. Part of the so many things I'm talking about is if you are going to be siting your fish farm within a residential area, it's always advisable you look out for how you'll be channeling your water, your waste water. Because if you don't have that facility in place, you end up, you've already spent a whole lot of money, and your neighbors, they will just knock on your door and tell you, so, your water is polluting or causing nuisance in the environment. You don't want that. So you need to factor that and also make provision for your water when it comes to location. But if you are planning a very big one and you want to go to a farming area, of course, that might not be a problem, but you still need to channel your water. But I will not be overflogging that. When you get to that bridge, of course, you cross it. Another thing you need to consider, having considered the location, is your water. You need to check the water parameters. And part of the water parameters you're going to be checking if you want to set up a catfish farm or whichever fish farm you want to set up. You need to consider the pH of your water. If your water pH is not okay, especially for catfish, if your pH is ranging between 7.5 up to 8.5, I think you're still okay. But anything beyond that, you might end up spending money on correction, and eventually you might not even see results. You might end up losing. So I always advise people, before you invest heavily, check the water parameter. This same thing I'm sharing with you, I already fell victim of it on my farm, but it's still useful for something else. But for the fishes which I initially created that bowl for, is not serving that purpose. So I don't want you to go that same route. So I will advise you carry out the pH, the what do we call it, the turbidity of your water, the turgidity of the water as well, the total dissolved solid in the water. You need to carry out tests on it. You also need to carry out chemical analysis and physical analysis. Those are the tests you have to carry out on your water. So let's now assume you have scaled through the water testing section now. The next thing you want to do is you want to decide on which type of pond you want to use to host your fishes. Of course, we have different type of ponds. We have the natural selection, and we have the artificial. Of course, I am so sure you don't want to go for the natural one, which is for you to stock a whole river. You may not have control over the river, so you will want to go for the artificial, which is you sinking a pond. And we have different type of pond, just like I told you. We have the earthen pond, we have the plastic pond, we have the tarpaulin pond, we also have the I said earthen pond, concrete pond, tarpaulin pond, and plastic ponds. Those are the major ones. Of course, we have other ones, but the ones I'm going to be sharing with you is just the four. Now, if your plan is to use borehole water for your fishes, I will advise you go for either tarpaulin, concrete, or plastic. Don't even think about earthen pond, because earthen pond requires a lot of water, and if you have challenge with your water for a day, you might smell pepper. So don't go near earthen pond if you are going to be using borehole water. Now, having considered the one you want to use, all those ponds, they are very okay to sustain the life for your fishes. It all depends on your budget. Now, having the decide on the pond to use, the next thing you have to consider is you need to check for, or maybe you carry out a survey, your locality survey now. Which type of fishes are they buying within your location? When I say which type of fishes, I'm talking about the type of catfish they buy. We have different type of catfishes. We have the clarias, we have the heterobrancus, and we have the hybrid. Hybrid is the coming together of clarias and hetero. Let's say the father is hetero and the mother is clarias. The offspring that come from the two of them is going to be what we call hybrid. I hope you understand me now. Now, the next thing you want to consider is, what are people asking for? What are people buying? Here in Ilorin, where my own farm is, I only have ready market for hybrid. But if you are in another part of Nigeria or another part of the world, and they are asking for clarias, they are asking for hetero, of course, that is what you have to raise, because you don't want to turn your farm into a tourist center where people will just be watching your fishes and they will not be buying it. No, you want to raise the fishes up to your target point and sell. Of course, that is your target. So you need to consider what people are buying. But I'm still going to say this. Another thing worthy of consideration is, what is your target? If your target is to raise your fishes up to smoking size, then you may not necessarily have to consider clarias, hetero, or hybrid. You can just raise whichever one comes to you, because you are going to smoke it. And by the time you smoke it, of course, though those people that knows fishes, they know the taste is different. If you taste hybrid fishes, the taste is different from if you are tasting a clarias or you are tasting hetero. The sweetest of all is actually hetero, while the ones that is very close to it is hybrid. Clarias most of the time is fatty, so it's not really tasting the way we fish eat as we love it to be. I hope you understand. But if what you want to do is just to smoke, I will advise you go for that clarias or hybrid. But if your target is to raise for long, like 6, 7, 8 months, hybrid is the answer, because hybrid seems to be rugged. I hope you understand. Of course, you can raise clarias as well, you can raise hetero as well, but that is my own point of view. This video I'm making it stands to be corrected, of course. Nobody knows it all, but according to what I've passed through myself, that is what I'm sharing with you. Now, let me not digress. So the next thing you have to do is you also need to consider the feeds. You need to consider the feeds. The feed you are going to be feeding your fishes with. You need to consider it even before starting. If you don't have the feed for your fishes, or you don't have the money to feed your fishes up to, let me say, 75% completion, please and please don't go near fish farming, because it requires a very lot of money for you to attain success, or for you to even finish the cycle. It requires a very lot of money. So, having considered the feeding, the next thing you have to consider is your staffing. Do you want to do the feeding yourself? Do you want to supervise yourself? Do you want to be the security yourself? Those things are the questions you ask yourself. But if you are going to be having the farm somewhere else rather than your residential area, of course you'll be needing a third eye to look over your farm for you, which is the security. So you need to consider the amount you're going to be paying, and also for the feeding as well. Will you be paying for the feeding of your fishes, as in, will you be paying someone to be feeding your fishes on your behalf? So you need to consider that as well. And the next thing you need to consider is to have your third eye, which is camera. Of course, this is not a primary primary target for you. It is a secondary target, but you still need it. You need it, especially if you're going for a commercial fish farming. Otherwise, if you are going for just for fun type of fish farming, you don't need it. So, ladies and gentlemen, I think I have already told you some of the things you need to consider before kickstarting a fish farm in Nigeria. Of course, this video is useful elsewhere other than Nigeria, but you know, what is applicable in Nigeria might not be applicable elsewhere. In Nigeria, you can wake up one day and turn your sitting room into a fish farm. Nobody will ask you, whereas elsewhere, the government can hunt you. So that is why I'm saying in Nigeria. In Ghana, I don't know whether the same rules that governs individual is what governs them as well. I hope you understand. So the next thing worthy of note is learn for training before you start. It's always advisable you go for trainings. There are a lot of trainings, online trainings and offline trainings, but I will advise you go for a practical trainings. And the training I'm talking about is not a day training where you think you know everything. Go for a training, and if possible, do your IT, industrial training. I don't know whether that word is actually apt. but go for a training that will take you through the whole process, the whole cycle. Let's assume you go to a place where they are stocking their fishes. Go there, learn for almost 6 months or throughout the duration of their stocking, so that you understand what and what they do when this and that happens. But if you don't have the luxury of time to yourself, I will advise you start with small numbers of fishes, like 200 to 500. Try to learn from it. So if you're able to do that successfully with, let's say, if you're able to get your principal, your capital, if you're able to get it back, then it could be the best time for you to start a commercial, or let me say large scale fish farming. But if you eventually faced some challenges, what I will advise you do is that you address those challenges, try and find solution before you can think of stocking a farm with large numbers of fishes. So ladies and gentlemen, this video is so long, but I believe is full of value. And the only thing I will ask of you to do for me is please subscribe to my channel if you derive value. But happy Ramadan to all my Muslim subscribers, and to the Christians, happy Lenten period, and to other sects, I want to say have a wonderful day as well. To your success and to my progress, ladies and gentlemen, I remain your humble host, Samuel. The is my name.